Hello, welcome to SmartPen training with me, Nate Streeper, the Adaptive Tech Specialist at DSP. Um, so we'll just get started here. I'm going to show you this packet that you'll be receiving from us. This here is the SmartPen packet. It might be in a pink container, it might be brown, it might be gray. That's part of the excitement. You never know what color your packet's going to be. And you'll get a notebook. They come in various colors as well. This is a 100-page notebook. I also have some 80-page notebooks. Sometimes that's all I've got, so I'll just give you the 80-page one. There's also some 3-subject notebooks. I think they have 150 pages. This is just a single subject, meaning it doesn't have any extra dividers in there. Let me know what you need. Some students prefer the triple 3-subject notebook. But anyway, you can always get more. So if you get one notebook, you need a second one, third one throughout the quarter, throughout the year, just let me know. At any point, I can give you more notebooks because the notebooks are special. They're not just any everyday average notebook. They have little dots on every single page that allow the pen to know its location on the page, which is important based on how this whole thing works. So that's the notebook for now. The SmartPen itself looks like this. It's got a little window on the top there. I'll turn it on in a minute. It does have a serial number. Be aware that that's how we know which SmartPen everyone has. We keep track of that. So don't remove that sticker. It's pretty important. If you ever gave it back to me, it's how I know you gave it back to me. The cap comes off, like that. Try not to lose the cap. It does happen, but do your best. And then the ink cartridge is in there. It just comes out when you need to replace it. Easy peasy, right? Of course, I picked the one pen. It's not easy to get out. I'll have to edit this part. Jeez Louise. Oh, come on. You know, there you go. All right. Maybe I'll leave that in there for fun. Anyway, this is the ink cartridge. And they're very special as well. They're not something you just pick up at, Target or something like that. To replace it, that will be easy, I promise. You just slide it in there like that until it pinches in. And as you can see, it hardly ever comes out on its own. So that's how that works. When you run out of ink, just like when you need another notebook, just let me know, and I can give you some more. I can send them to you. You can come pick them up in the office when the office is open. That's how that works. When I turn this on, power button right there, lights up, and that's pretty tough to see, but it says SmartPen 61. I think it said Livescribe right before that when it was booting up. And you do have to turn it on in order for it to record anything, for starters. It is entirely possible to forget to do that. You bring out your pen, you start taking your notes, you're not recording anything. So what makes this pen special is that it records the lecture, the audio, in the room while you are taking notes in your notebook. If that's all it did, it wouldn't be too special because you might as well just take notes like with a normal pen and a normal notebook and have your smartphone out with its voice memo recorder on, and that would serve the same function. It would record your notes while you're writing your notes. So what makes this special is that it syncs the moment of the audio with the location on the page with all those dots. So here we go. When you get your notebook, first thing you're going to have to do, and it says right here on the sticker, and you'll want to do this, is you tap it with your SmartPen.
This notebook is available for use on your SmartPen.
And it says this notebook is available for use on your SmartPen. You've now synced this SmartPen with this notebook. You can get by without doing that, but it's important to do it because you can never have the same colored notebook more than once. So when I was talking about what color notebook you get, that's kind of important. If you already had a gray number 6 notebook and you needed another one, I wouldn't want to give you another gray number 6 notebook because then the notes start to overlap with each other. So if I ask you, what color notebook did you have? That's why I'll give you anything but that same color again. When you sync it like that, it kind of flags this particular gray number 6 notebook. So if I did accidentally give you another gray number 6 notebook, it would go, hey, hold on, we're already using this. All right, then I'm going to open up the notebook. And within the notebook, you'll notice on the front flap, there's like a control panel is what it's called, I believe. It might also be in the back flap. This one it is, but not necessarily. I think the other notebooks are laid out a little differently. And you'll also notice on the bottom of every single page, it looks like this, where you have some controls as well. Otherwise, it looks like regular lined paper. The resolution on this camera is not going to pick it up, but if you look at the page really carefully when you get it, you'll see all the little tiny dots, very small, like newsprint dots, and that's how it tracks it. So what you're going to want to do on this control panel is set it up to where you let it know if you're right or left-handed, for one thing. That's right here, right or left-handed. I'm going to hit right-handed. No. I'm going to hit right-handed. There we go. And that just controls the direction of the window, so that depending on which hand you hold it in, you can read it more easily. I'm going to set the date and time, and I do that by tapping. I've turned the pen on, by the way. It's still on. It has to be on to be doing all this. So I'm going to find the set time button, which is here.
Set time.
And it is 11:09 in the morning. So I did that, and now it says 11:09 a.m. I'm going to set the date. I press set date.
Set date.
So today's the 20th of May. So I'll do 052020. Set the date. You can always check the time and date. That's a different button on here. Check time and date. You gonna do it? Oh, it is. It doesn't verbalize it, but it shows up on your window. Sorry. So there's my cat. Will be coming in any second. Wow. You can check the battery level of your pen right here. Also shows up in the window of your pen. Just the standard battery looking thing with the bars. It only takes like about an half hour to recharge entirely. So I would just suggest charge it every night. There's my cat. Hey, Finnegan. His name is Finnegan Walter O'Malley. He's Irish. So basically, yeah, that's the battery. You can check the battery that way. You can also check the storage, basically how much more recording time it has left. There's a button for that. And it says on here right now, the first time you tap it, it'll say how many megabytes are left. 1,631 megabytes. Who cares? Tap it a second time, the storage button, and then it has the number of hours remaining, or minutes. It says 135 hours, 45 minutes remaining. So if you think about it, it's like 136 hours when it's a clean slate. If you had 12 units in a quarter, that's 120 hours of lecture. So 136 hours pretty much covers a quarter worth of classes. You might have 16 units, you might have labs, etc. So it may or may not cover a quarter, it doesn't matter. But when it gets close to the maximum, when it's almost out of recording time, you can let us know and we can replace the pen for you. So we'll give you a whole new pen, you just reset it with your notebook and you're good to go. We take the old pen and we wipe its memory clean and we pass it on to someone else. It is possible for you to wipe out your memory yourself. You can delete specific files or you can wipe out the entire pen. You know, if you want to take that chance, go for it, but you don't have to do it that way. We can just replace it for you. Once I've done that setup, that's pretty much the most setup that you'll need to do. I'm just going to go to a blank page, and on the bottom, if I want to start the recording, I'm going to hit the record button. I'm going to tap that circle, and then I'm going to start writing my notes. When I'm done with my notes for the lecture, I'm going to tap the stop button. That's very important. If you don't tap the stop button, guess what? It'll keep recording. You'll put the pen in your backpack, you'll go off, have lunch with your friends, and it's recording your conversation with your friends during lunch. So, you know, make sure you stop it. You're wasting precious minutes unless that really is a lunchtime conversation that you want to explore, re-explore in detail down the road. You can skip around. These are some navigation controls. You can adjust the volume, make it louder or quieter, and that's for playback mode. It doesn't matter when it's recording, but when you're playing back, that's when you can adjust the volume. And it's got this crosshair over here, which is for like really super intense navigation. That's what you can use to like delete specific files, things like that. I'll let you have a good time with that. You can always ask me if you have questions, but you can figure it out on your own, I'm sure. I'm going to do a fake lecture for myself. I'm going to be hitting the record button, giving myself a short lecture, writing notes. Here we go. Record. It said a little noise. Now, as soon as I hit the record button, I'm normally going to put something like the date in the upper corner, 5/20/20. And then I'm going to do my lecture, and I'm going to talk about my new Xbox 360. I used to have an Xbox 360, and ended up not being able to keep it. So I got a new one, and one of the games that I'd gotten originally for it was Halo Master Chief Collection, which was really cool because it was basically like, you know, 5 games in one. It was like Halo 1, 2, 3, and I think 4 was on there. Anyway, and when I got the new Xbox and I went to use my download code didn't work, which was very disconcerting. And it basically means that I have to purchase the game all over again for another $40. I do not want to do that, but I want that game, so I'm still on the fence about that. I'm done with my lecture about my sorry story about Halo, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to press the stop button. Where is it? There we go. All right, stopped. So now the idea is that on my notes, these are my wonderful notes. If I want to hear something again when I'm studying, I just tap that particular line of my notes and it will play the recording from that point.
Collection, which was really cool because it was basically like, you know, 5 games in one. It was like 5/20/20. And then I'm going to do my lecture and I'm going to talk about I do not want to do that, but I want that game, so I'm still on the fence about that.
And I hit stop when I'm done listening to whatever I want to listen to. That's basically how it works. So that way, if you have 10 pages of notes and you're like, oh, what did the professor mean when he or she was talking about this? You tap that and then you can hear it again. Keep in mind that you're always writing your notes after the fact, right? You hear something, then you write it. You can't write it ahead of time. So your handwriting is always going to be a little delayed. So you'll rarely be able to actually touch the exact line that you want to hear again. You'll probably have to go up and tap somewhere above that and let the lecture kind of feed into that line. Also keep in mind some good tip is that you can use this pen to create your own system of symbols. So for example, we all do this, we put like a star next to something that we think is important or something like that. But keep in mind, since this allows you to listen to stuff again, you can create a system of symbols that bullet point where you should go back and listen. So your star, instead of being important, could be like, it could represent, oh, I need to go back and listen to that part because I didn't understand it or I didn't hear it correctly, or I want to make sure that I understood what the professor was saying and that my notes correspond accordingly. And then when you tap the note and you're listening to it, you can continue to write. So you continue to write while it's in playback mode, and it will still record your handwriting and sync up with that as well, if that makes any sense. So now one last thing I want to do is show you the software that you can get for this. It's called Livescribe Echo Desktop, and I've got it on my screen here. So I'm gonna do this. So this is what it looks like, and basically it's free to download. there'll be a link in your email when I send you the email about all this stuff that will take you to this download link for free. And the first time you sync your pen to your computer with the USB cable, which is also provided for you, you can use this to charge your pen as well as sync it to your computer. Then you can transfer all your data from the pen to the desktop and save it there forever. So that way, even if you do return your pen because you maxed out its memory, you can still go back and listen to all your old notes, your prior notes, through your computer. So you never lose them. When you go to your computer, and I just realized I've been holding this pen up and all I'm doing is sharing my screen with you, so sorry, there's a USB cord I showed you, cable, as well as I'm just holding the pen. But on this screen here, what you can do is choose your SmartPen in the upper right corner. If you happen to have a second one down the road, you can choose which one you're using. And then over here where it says active notebooks, I clicked on the 3 subject notebook. That's the one that this pen used. And when I click on a particular note page, lo and behold, there's notes in my handwriting. And if I want to listen to the notes again, I just click on the screen where I want to listen to it again. And the way this is recording, I don't know if you can hear what it's saying, but it's playing it back. So you can skip around. You can even do a keyword search, which I think is really cool. So like if we are on this page here, and I want to look for the word hazard, there they are. 3 hazards come up. So it can do a search for your handwriting, which I think is pretty unbelievable. Another thing you can do when you're taking notes and you go back to them later, you can use a highlighter on them. It won't mess it up. You can still tap it. It'll still play back. You can, that's the pen itself in the notebook. And then on the computer, you can organize your notes accordingly by class, because otherwise it's just going to be listing all your notes chronologically in the order you took them. But you can, of course, create subfolders so that you have, you know, notes over here from your chemistry class versus your history class, etc. And that's it. So it's more than probably what you could possibly need to know, but there's always other things that will come up. So I'm here if you have any questions. Again, if you need another notebook, just let me know. We'll give you another one. If you need more ink cartridges, let me know. Hey, I got it out this time. We'll give you another one. There is an extra ink cartridge in your packet that I start you off with. This is that fancy USB cable I had tried to show you earlier, but didn't. Also, you have an instruction pack, and on page 4 of the English version of the instructions, it has the link for the Echo desktop software as well. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening to my homemade video about the SmartPen. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. I'll probably have to redo it, but we'll see if this one sticks. If so, you'll find it online. All right, take care.